welcome to Daily Dictation. This is an interactive video to help you practice your English skills. You are going to practice your writing and your listening skills. I am going to read 5 sentences about the topic of describing your home at a low intermediate level. You will write down each sentence exactly as you hear it, and then I will show you what it looks like when it looks like it's properly written out. I will then explain some spelling tips and tricks to help you improve your spelling, and I will also explain the grammar in each sentence. Let's get started. All right, so daily dictation, this is a skill that is best developed if you practice every day. So there's new sentences each weekday, new topics each week, and 2 English levels offered. Instructions. You will need a blank piece of paper and a pencil or a blank document that you can type into. 5 sentences will be read. Each sentence will be read 3 times and 1 more time at the end. You have to write down each sentence exactly as you hear it. You will use your listening skills to do this. Try your best to apply the correct spelling, punctuation, and capitalization. All right, so you're going to see on the screen numbers 1 to 5. Each number represents a different sentence that I will read, starting with sentence number 1. Number 1. The kitchen is filled with new appliances for cooking. The kitchen is filled with new appliances for cooking. The kitchen is filled with new appliances for cooking. Number 2. Our neighbors have a beautiful garden in their backyard. Our neighbors have a beautiful garden in their backyard. Our neighbors have a beautiful garden in their backyard. Number 3. I love reading in my room while sitting on the furniture. I love reading in my room while sitting on the furniture. I love reading in my room while sitting on the furniture. Number 4. We moved into a bigger house with a nice yard. We moved into a bigger house with a nice yard. We moved into a bigger house with a nice yard. Number 5. She invited her friends to her apartment for a comfortable evening. She invited her friends to her apartment for a comfortable evening. She invited her friends to her apartment for a comfortable evening. I'm going to read each sentence one more time, starting with sentence number 1. The kitchen is filled with new appliances for cooking. Number 2. Our neighbors have a beautiful garden in their backyard. Number 3. I love reading in my room while sitting on the furniture. Number 4. We moved into a bigger house with a nice yard. Number 5. She invited her friends to her apartment for a comfortable evening. All right, I'm sure everybody did a wonderful job. Let's get ready to check our answers. If you think that this video was too fast, then you can listen again, and in the settings of the video, you can adjust the playback speed. If you need to listen to specific sentence numbers again, then just check the description for timestamps for when each sentence was read. You feel like you've gotten everything written down? Let's get ready to check our answers. We're going to start with number 1. The kitchen is filled with new appliances for cooking. So looking at this sentence, we're starting with the kitchen, which is our subject, is our form of be, which is in the simple present tense. Filled, even though it looks like it is a main verb, because filled with the ed can be a main verb, it comes after our form of be, which means it's functioning as an adjective here. Then we have the word with, our preposition to add more information. With what? New appliances for cooking. So we have a couple of prepositions here to make our sentence even longer and more complex. With, we're following it with this noun. And for, we're actually following that with a gerund. And that tells us the purpose of the appliances. Now, let's look at the next sentence, number 2. Our neighbors have a beautiful garden in their backyard. A few things for spelling for this one. First off, neighbors, I live in Canada, so the way I spell neighbors is with a U. However, if you learned American spelling, then you probably didn't use the U, and that's correct also. So Americans spell it without the U, but Canadians and people from the UK tend to spell it with the U. So it depends on what English you're more comfortable with. It can be correct either way. Over here, beautiful is a long word. It's pretty common, but long, so it could be a little bit tricky to spell. So what I do when I spell it is I split it up like this, B-E-A-U-T-ful. And remember that there's only one L. That's a common mistake. So B-E-A, say that to yourself, U-T-full, and then sound out the rest. And that's a little bit easier to remember because this part is especially hard because there's so many vowels in one. So that's why I say it all separately. And then also backyard is one word, which is a common mistake as well. Besides that, as far as the grammar goes, our neighbors is the subject, have is the main verb, a beautiful garden. Garden is the object of the sentence, but we have more information by providing another preposition. Where is the garden? In their backyard. So by providing a preposition and then a noun or a gerund to follow, in this case, it's a noun, backyard, then that's making your sentence longer and more complex. I love reading in my room while sitting on the furniture. So this one has 2 clauses. Because our conjunction while, the subordinating conjunction, while is right in the middle of our full sentence. So it shows us that we have an independent clause first and a dependent clause second. And since this is the case, we are not going to add any comma before the word while or after while. What you'll notice here is when we use while, if you saw this in our progressive videos that were posted, what you're going to see is that when we're using the progressive tense, such as reading and sitting, when we have 2 clauses and we use the word while, the progressive tense is used to talk about 2 long actions that are occurring at the same time. So that's why they both have to be in the progressive form here and the progressive form here when there's while right in the middle. So that is a little bit of a grammar explanation about that. Another thing to remember that's a little bit tricky is because we're adding the ing on words that are single syllables that have a vowel and the consonant T, or any consonant, here is consonant T, any consonant, we usually have to double the consonant before adding ing. So that's why there's two T's here. If that rule confuses you a little bit, check the video on the present progressive or present continuous tense that was posted recently. And that tells you all about the different spelling rules because it can get kind of tricky, especially when we have American spelling versus Canadian or UK spelling. It gets a little bit tricky with the double consonants there because there's two different rules. Let's have a look at the next sentence. We moved into a bigger house with a nice yard. So we moved into a bigger house with a nice yard. Overall, we is the subject, move is the main verb, into is our preposition, and a bigger house is the object of the sentence. Then we have another preposition with, and then a noun to follow that to extend our sentence and make it a little bit longer. Here, bigger, kind of similar idea to the double consonant here, except when we're adding ER, it's going to be the same, kind of the same thing. Other than that, a lot of the words should be relatively simple. Now, some people have questions about in versus into. They're both prepositions. If you say we moved in a bigger house with a nice yard, that's fine too. Both are okay. It depends on your style of speaking. Into has a greater emphasis on inside, like inside the house I moved. So that places a greater emphasis, but if you just said in, that would work as well. Finally, let's have a look at sentence 5. She invited her friends to her apartment for a comfortable evening. And so for this, we have she, which is our subject, invited, which is our main verb, her friends is the object of the sentence. Now we have this preposition to, and then a noun, and then we're extending it even more with another preposition for, and then a noun here. So that is the breakdown. We're adding prepositions to extend our sentences. You don't want to add too many, but if you add two and extend your sentences like that, it's pretty good for making a more complex looking sentence. Apartment can be a tricky word sometimes for spelling. A lot of people want to put two P's like an appointment, but that's not correct. So you should split it up. Apartment. And then when you have the A by itself and then the word part by itself, then that reminds you that there's only one P. Comfortable. That can be a little bit hard as well. Able is the way that you should split it up to spell it. And like you'll notice with these words, these are bold, and we have other bold words: house, yard, room, furniture, garden, neighbors, kitchen, appliances. These are the vocabulary words that we're studying this week for this topic. So let's have a better look at these words. All right, so here are the vocabulary words: house, comfortable, neighbors, appliance, apartment, garden, room, kitchen, yard, furniture. All of these are related to describing your home. And these are really good words to know because if you are planning to take IELTS and do the speaking part of the exam, then these vocabulary words are likely to come up, and it's important that you know how to use them in your own sentences. In addition, sometimes this could come up in the writing portion, this topic, and even the listening portion as well. So it is really good to know how to spell this because you do need to fill in the blanks. And in IELTS, if you are sounding out the word, but you spell it wrong, then you're not going to get the point because that's actually not correct. Even if your word has, like, say, for example, you spell appliance and you spell all correctly, but you forget the P, then you're going to get marked wrong for that and miss the mark. So it is good to know how to spell these words as well if you're going into the proficiency exam. So make sure you study them and try your best to use them in your own sentences. Besides that, we are all finished for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please keep on trying your best and keep on practicing your English, and I'll see you next time. Bye!